She said, let's just be friends after 2 years together. So I said, perfect, and treated her exactly like I treat my other friends, with boundaries. When Sophia hit me with the friends speech on a random Thursday night, I agreed so fast her head nearly spun off. Wait, you're not going to fight for us? Beg me to reconsider? Nope. Friends sounds great, Em. The confusion on her face was priceless. See? What Sophia didn't know was that I'd been planning to break up with her for 3 weeks. She was suffocating me, going through my phone, interrogating me about every female coworker, throwing tantrums when I hung out with my buddies. But she beat me to the punch, so I just smiled and played along. I think she expected me to be devastated, maybe cry a little, definitely grovel. Instead, I helped her pack her stuff and even called her an Uber. The look of pure bewilderment as I waved goodbye was worth every penny. The next morning, reality started hitting. She texted at 7 a.m. asking if I wanted to grab our usual Saturday brunch. I said I was busy with my friend Luca. Since when do you prioritize Luca over me? Since we became friends, Em. Luca and I have standing Saturday plans now. This was complete news to Luca. But when I called him laughing about the situation, he was totally down to be my alibi. We actually did start hanging out more. Turns out I'd been neglecting my friendships while walking on eggshells. By week 2, Sophia was panicking. I wasn't responding to her texts immediately anymore. When she'd send paragraphs about her day, I'd reply with cool or a thumbs up emoji, you know, like I do with my actual friends. Why are you being so cold? I'm not being cold. This is how I text my friends. But I'm not just any friend. According to you last week, that's exactly what you are. The desperation started showing when she began manufacturing crises. Her car broke down near my apartment 3 times in 1 week. Each time, I'd send her Awe's number and tell her I was busy. Before, I would have dropped everything to rescue her. Now, she was just another friend with car trouble. Week 3 brought the waterworks. She showed up at my door at 10 p.m. crying about work stress. Old me would have canceled my plans, made tea, and listened for hours. New me said, that sucks, Em. Have you talked to your sister about it? I'm heading out to meet some people. What people? Since when do you have Thursday night plans? Just some friends from the gym. Rachel's having people over. The name Rachel hit her like a slap. She knew I'd been going to a new gym since we became friends, but hearing about another woman sent her into overdrive. Rachel? Who's Rachel? A friend. You know, like we are. I grabbed my jacket and headed for the door. Lock up when you leave, and maybe call ahead next time. Friends usually don't just show up unannounced. The nuclear meltdown happened at Chris's birthday party 2 weeks later. I showed up solo. Sophia arrived with some guy named Walter, clearly trying to make me jealous. I shook Walter's hand, welcomed him to the group, then proceeded to have an amazing time without giving Sophia a second thought. Halfway through the night, she cornered me in Chris's kitchen, looking frantic. Why aren't you jealous? Why don't you care that I'm here with someone else? Why would I be jealous? Friends date people. I'm happy you're putting yourself out there. But we have history. We lived together. We talked about marriage. Yeah, and then you said you wanted to be friends. So now we're friends. That's what you wanted, right? She tried to grab my hands. I stepped back politely, but firmly. Sophia, friends don't do that. Her face went nuclear red. You're being cruel. This isn't what I meant. What did you mean then? She couldn't answer because we both knew she'd wanted to keep me as her emotional support system while exploring other options. The classic cake and eat it too situation. I made a mistake, she whispered. I want you back. Sorry, Em. I'm actually seeing someone now. Who? Rachel, from the gym. Turns out when you're not constantly stressed about your relationship, you're way more attractive to other people. The beautiful part? It was completely true. Rachel and I had been talking for weeks. She was everything Sophia wasn't. Confident, independent, supportive of my friendships. We were taking it slow, but there was real potential there. Sophia's face crumpled. You moved on that fast? I moved on the second you said you wanted to be friends. That's what moving on means. She ran out crying, Walter trailing behind, looking confused. Chris found me a few minutes later, grinning. Dude, that was ice cold. Nah, that was just friendship. Exactly what she asked for. Sophia blocked me on everything that night. 6 months later, I heard through mutual friends that she'd broken up with Walter and was asking people about me. Too little, too late. Rachel and I are still together. Turns out when someone actually wants to be with you instead of keeping you as a backup plan, relationships are amazing. Best breakup I never initiated.